Hello and welcome to News Now. I'm Prema Rajaram and we have with us today Tanushri Shankar. There's something beautiful about dance. There's something beautiful about movement that can change so much about your emotions, that can portray emotions. If you're sad, maybe dance makes you happy. Isn't that so?
Absolutely, absolutely. And not only that, I think dance really takes you to a different level of spiritualism. And you're closest to God, I think. It's an outlet of our inner feelings. So it's a beautiful expression.
So, movement and dance go hand in hand. There is something about therapy when we talk about dance.
Right.
Of course, there's the expression part of it. Have there been these students who come to you who have transformed over the years and you see that bright spark in them, and that is because of dance?
Absolutely, and I'll tell you the two sets of people. Of course, over the years, I've seen young dancers who came into the school as a 4-year-old, and now they've grown, bloomed, and they're part of our group as well as teaching. So you've really seen their journey and how they've transformed them as a person, as an artist. And there is another class that we have for ladies. It's called the Ladies Special Class, which is more therapeutic because all the ladies who come, they're either working, housewives, or even professionals like doctors and CAs. So for them, this is an outlet. This is a place of they drop all their inhibitions and they just come and enjoy that 1 hour of letting their hair down. And it's beautiful because they say, we've named this class Oxygen. There's so many different situations that they are in, whether in the house, whether in the office, wherever they are. But they make it a point that Tuesdays, come what may, from 6 to 7, it's our time, it's a me time for us. That means it helps them, even as people. It opens up their mind, it refreshes their whole being. And I think it's great.
When you talk about inhibitions, tell us some stories or maybe even one of someone who has changed drastically because they're part of your dance class and that was something that they never expected or even you didn't expect.
Then just not one person. I've seen a whole group of young people, whole group of ladies who didn't have the confidence at all. They were very, very hesitant to move. They were very hesitant to express themselves. And coming to this class over the years, their confidence level has become something else. And they also have started taking initiative of choreographing and creating works. So I think it has given them, the doors have opened totally. And of course, that's the transformation that I see in front of my eyes.
What about you? How has that given you joy over the years? You were part of the Ananda Shankar Dance Academy. You blossomed there, and then now it is your turn to give back to these ladies. Tell us about that journey of yours.
Okay, in the first place, I'd like to clarify Ananda was not a dancer. He was a composer, music composer. And the organization that you're talking about is called the Ananda Shankar Center for Performing Arts, which is a trust. And for me, dance has been like breathing. I love teaching now because now, of course, I don't dance so much as what I used to. but it has given me everything. It has given me happiness. It has given me mental peace. It has given me whatever I am today. It is through dance. So I think I would be nowhere without it.
And when you see these ladies take forward your pride
Yeah.
and your confidence with what you teach them, what do you feel? How do you feel at the end of, say,
I
a
feel,
session?
it is the whole idea is for them to carry on or take it forward. This whole style of Uday Shankar, along with them, and spread it out, because it really is a style which anybody can learn, because he would say it's walk to dance. Anybody who can walk can dance. So the whole idea of making it, taking it to and sharing it with others is the whole idea, it'll be the best. So I look forward to my students, my students who have graduated from the school, to do the same, to take it forward, and develop it further.
That was very beautifully put. Anybody who can walk can dance. Is it that simple for somebody who's maybe scared or doing this for the first time?
It is, because why I'm saying walk to dance, I mean, that's exactly probably what my father-in-law Uday Shankar ji had thought and started this. That when we walk in a particular rhythm. When we run, there is the rhythm changes. When we walk slowly, again the rhythm changes. So that is a built-in rhythm that every one of us have been born with. And that is what is sort of nurtured and made more refined to become a dance. So I think anybody who can walk can dance.
And anyone who can walk can dance, not just in Bengal, but
Everywhere.
across the world.
Across the
and
world.
you have taken that to the US and
Yeah.
different parts of the world. Tell us a little about how that has been received there, the kind of response you've got in the shows.
Oh my God, we've been performing abroad from 1974 since then, and it's a great style because it's very universal. So whatever I'm performing here today in Kolkata, I can perform the same thing in New York, in Japan, in Bardhaman. It's the same thing, and it's because it's a universal language, and we try and keep to universal content. That is where it really resonates with all the audience all over the world in the same way. And that makes me feel that actually we are all one. We all think the same way. We all react the same way. So we've been very, very fortunate to have been, traveling all over the world to different countries and having got the same kind of response in each piece that we get here.
So it's not just the Bengali diaspora
No,
that is
no.
there for these shows or open to workshops.
Yeah. It's like I had the opportunity of teaching for 2 years at the Laban Center in UK. It's a very famous dance center. I taught the BA second year students. They were doing a project called the Historical Project, which you have to know about one of the legendary dancers, and of course Uday Shankar was one of them. So I taught them not only one of his original piece, but also a 15 minutes segment which they performed. So yes, I have been doing a lot of workshops, and I always say dancers are it's a one family. We all, our language is body language, and we understand each other like that. Even if I can't speak French, but I will be able to interact with the dancer, and the same thing I think even for singers, because you have those 7 notes which is universal. So artists are actually a clan that is very, very in sync with anybody from all over the world, any artist from all over the world.
And there are a lot of people from overseas who are not Indians who are also willing to learn the Indian culture.
Yes, of course.
How difficult has it been to teach them?
It's not been difficult at all because they're so open to learning, and that's fantastic because they want to, they are hungry to learn a new technique, a new style, a new way of expressing their dance, because what they do is very, it's a completely different kind of a training, and what we teach is a different kind of a training. So it takes a little while for them to get it into their body, but it's not that they can't. Definitely they can.
Many of them must be coming here as well to
We
learn
have
more.
had, yes, we have had quite a few dancers who have come from abroad, stayed here for 3 months, 6 months. We had a Japanese student who stayed here for a year and learned from us.
When it comes to Bengal, there's something special about the land of Tagore and the land of so many artists. You have grown up here. What is it about this city, Kolkata, that has given you that opportunity to showcase your dance and gives you a lifetime of memories?
Okay, I was born here, I haven't grown up here because my father being in the army, I was traveling all over the country. But after I got married, I came and stayed here. The thing about Bengal, or I would say Kolkata, it grows on you. And even when as a child, when we were traveling in different cities, when my father would get his annual leave, we would come back to Kolkata. So there is something about this place which is very, very attractive culturally. The theatre scene, the music scene, the dance scene, everything is very vibrant in Kolkata. And even I've seen our friends who come from abroad, from America, from UK, they say that, when we are first posted in Kolkata, we really get depressed. But when it comes for our time comes for us to leave, we're very depressed again because we do not want to leave this place. And I've seen some of our friends come back here on holidays. So there is something about this place which sort of grows on you. And it has grown on me as well. And I think it has given me a lot in the sense of I learned dance from here, at the Uday Shankar India Culture Center from my mother-in-law. That's where I met my husband. So my second half of my life started off from, dance and being in Kolkata. And I think, yes, I owe a lot to the city. And I want to give it back, whatever little I've learned, to the people here, the dancers here.
What do you do during your free time? Because dance takes up so much of your time and your mind space. What do you do otherwise? How would you like to, say, spend the rest of the day if there is not dance on your schedule?
I do a lot of Sudoku and those crossword puzzles. No, that's something. I read a little bit if I get time, not as much as I used to, but which is sad. I need to brush that up more. And it's more of a trying to clean up your almirahs and drawers, which gets into a mess because when you're traveling in and out of the city. And so whenever I get that time, I try and clean up and organize my house a little bit.
What do you like to read?
I read all kinds of things. I mean, earlier there was read a lot of fiction and non-fiction books. Now I read maybe if I'm thinking of a particular subject, Like I was reading Rumi because we had done a piece on Rumi. So it depends upon what I am thinking of doing, and based on that, probably I'll pick up some books and read about it.
Of course, Rumi has been a Persian poet who finds his way in several courts and has been an inspiration for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
How has it inspired many of your pieces?
One piece, I would say, it's the poem is called Human Being. It's a translation by Coleman Bach, one of his Persian poems. We've used the Persian version also in that ballet. It's called Human Being, and it really inspired me a lot because when you read the poem, which was written in the 13th century or so many years ago, and there are a lot of things which are written, but what actually really caught my eyes was where he says that I'm not from the sky, I'm not from the ocean, I'm not from the east, I'm not from the west, I'm that breath that breathes, I'm a human being, which is so universal, it's so deep, where he's not talking about any religion, he's not talking about anything, it's just talking about the person that we are, and what makes us move is the breath, and that's what he's talking about. And I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and which really inspired me a lot to create this work that I've done called We the Living.
When you talk about inspiration, where do you find your inspiration? Because there are so many dance pieces that you have done before, and each time there must be a different thought behind each dance piece.
Yes, of course. And I try to create pieces which has some kind of a takeaway value. Like the Rumi, it talks about oneness, or, being surrendering to a particular power. I'm not saying what God, but there is a power, there is something we have to agree. So that is one. The other one that I have is about quest for peace, and peace is something which we experience, and unless we have happiness and love in our hearts, we cannot experience peace of mind. So these are the kind of things that I like to, portray. We have a short piece it's a very hypothetical piece called Rishya Vihar, which is on against cutting of trees and killing of animals. So little bit, it should be very, I believe in creating pieces which are entertaining, and yet the audience has something to take away from there. So that has always been the way I create.
How do you feel at the end of your shows? After you have created these pieces, you've performed, and it gives you a sense of achievement, a sense of peace?
It does give me a sense of peace because I'm rehearsing for months, and then when I see it on stage. But there is always, for me, I keep on thinking, this could have been a little like this and this could have been like that, So that is a constant thing, as an artist, you feel, oh, I could have done this better. So, yeah, I do feel happy and satisfied, but there is always something inside me which wants to always, keep changing, or feel like, okay, this could have been a little more mature. It's a little, it happens, I suppose.
Are you a perfectionist?
Yeah, yes.
So now coming to Bengal, we are in the midst of election season, and people in Bengal are very politically aware, whether it's a tea stall, whether in conversations amongst friends. Every other person wants to talk about politics from time to time. how do you look at elections, and do you go out to vote?
Okay, I do go out to vote, definitely. But as an artist, I have always kept myself neutral because I think it's very important for us to keep ourselves in that segment because we have the option of expressing ourselves in a creative way. So I have always, I mean, yes, elections have come and gone. I'm not one of those Bengalis who are absolutely into politics at all. But yeah, I know as long as I always feel that whoever is elected, they should give a thought about artists because you can be a fabulous politician, you can be a great, corporate head or whatever you can, you are very busy with your numbers and your statistics and all that. But at the end of the day, you would need a break, and that's where the artists come. They are like the fresh air. They are, you want to hear a music, you want to go and watch a film, you want to go and watch a show, you want to, paint. So it's a breakaway. So artists are the oxygen. They are the people who are there to make you feel better. So I want them to also think about the artists, whoever comes.
So, has there been enough oxygen or that opportunity for artists in Bengal to grow, to explore?
See, Bengal has always been very pro artists. Every in any kind of an occasion, there is a program. There is always, whether it's Bashant Utsav, whether it's the Tagore, whether it's Holi, whether it's Poila Boishakh. Drop of a hat, everybody's into dance and music, and that's what Bengal is all about. So I think that's the heart of Bengal, to keep this trend of artistic trend going.
And anything about Bengal that you remember as a child when you would keep visiting Kolkata, and something that resonates with you even today over the years? Because Bengal is a place that has somewhere remained the same through the sands of time and yet has seen its changes.
Yeah, I think as a child, of course, we would come to Kolkata and food-wise, all the, because we were staying in Punjab or we were staying in Maharashtra. So you sort of rush whenever you came here. I remember my father would go and buy tickets for all the jatra and theatre and films, Bengali films. He would just go and watch everything. And we were children, so we didn't. But I could see, as you grow up, you can see why they, it was like a running back home. So there is some kind of a magnetism over here which attracts us all, and I think that has been with me unconsciously as well. Not very consciously, but unconsciously it has always been that you come back to Bengal for several, attractions that are there. So, yeah. But now that I live here, probably that time I was more attracted. Now, though, you're living here, so you know what is there, how to deal with it.
And finally, you were in Boston and San Francisco. You did workshops there.
Yes.
Now you're back in Kolkata. What are your next plans?
Oh dear. We're planning to start a school in Bombay, trying out for 3 months. My daughter's there. It's actually been her brainchild. She only pushed me, that, Ma, let's try. As I stay here, she lives there. So that's one project that's happening. The second one is, for the NABC, choreographing a piece with multi-city dancers in America. So that's a big thing that's, taking up a lot of my time. I'm going back to the States again in June for this work. and then we have a school's annual program which will happen in September. So, yeah.
It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to your next plans panning out
Sure.
and talking to you more about that.
Absolutely. If I have anything new coming up, I'll let you know.
For sure.
Please do come and
Definitely,
see.
we would love to hear about it. That was Tanushree Shankar telling us about life in Bengal, traveling across the world, and her plans going forward. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for being here with News Now.